Welcome to Denome and welcome to this crypto update. As you can see, the price of Bitcoin had a perfect bounce exactly from the level that I showed you guys in my previous update on Monday. So from $77,000, practically $76,600, we had a bounce back to the upside. Now the price is $83,300. So obviously the question is, where does the price go next? And I have good news, I have bad news, and I have a very good news for you guys. The bad news is that in the short term, it looks like Bitcoin actually wants to go down, and this is a massive resistance level right now. In the long run, Bitcoin has never been stronger as it is now. So in the long-term view, you can see one clear thing right now, which is a bullish divergence here on the RSI. So RSI had a higher low, while the price had a lower low here on the chart. So that usually signals that the momentum is shifting. And it doesn't mean that we pump immediately back to the upside, but it just shows that we're basically very, very, very close to the bottom. We filled the CME gap here, and now we have a CME gap basically right above the $84,000 price level, which is right about here, above the current price range. But this can still break to the downside, but in either case, the momentum is now shifting. But let me show you why I think in the short term we will go down. Then I will talk about the news because we have a lot of news to actually cover in this video. So this is the reason why I think we go down in the short term. So when we take a look at the aggregated spot order book depth, and we actually change this to 3%. So within a 3% price move, you can see that the delta is currently that there's $82 million more limit sell orders than there are actually buy orders. And why this is significant is because when you take a look at this level here, currently we have more limit sell orders than we had at this peak here. And we have even more limit sell orders than we have even at this peak here. So the limit sell orders are now stacking up. And when we take a look at the limit buy orders, you can see that at each small dip, the amount of buying has basically gone down and down and down, while the limit sell orders have been increasing. So this is the main reason why I think we will see a short-term move back to the downside. But from there, I think that will be a perfect buying opportunity. So don't buy yet. If you haven't bought yet, you probably are looking for $80,000, which is right about these levels. This is most likely where we will get a bounce. Now let me go back to the 10% view. There's not a lot of sell pressure on the 10% move. There is $150 million here. So it could actually, yeah, we probably go to the downside. So $80,000, $77,000. Those are basically the two price levels that I would be buying Bitcoin if we see those prices once again. Anything else? Futures are basically turning red also here. So basically everybody is currently selling. But now let me show you all of the reasons why I think the markets are bullish. And this is mostly to do with the news. So obviously yesterday we had a first green day for a long time here. Not a lot of inflows into Bitcoin ETFs, but just a small blip here. So the sell pressure is certainly diminishing for the institutions, which is good. But then let me start showing you the news that we got just within the last 3 days. Number one, Strategy or MicroStrategy, this is the company that Michael Saylor has. They have now announced a $21 billion basically Bitcoin buying program. So they are issuing some share called STRK, which stands for some new kind of stock for the MicroStrategy talk. And you can basically use this stock to buy the Series A common stock or Class A common stock at a later date. So it's basically, I did not dive too deep into this, but it basically is a way for them to dilute their share value. And when they sell those shares, they will go to the market and buy Bitcoin. I explained the whole strategy in a previous video. This seems to be a little bit different from that. I have not made a deep dive into this yet, but all in all, they plan to buy $21 billion of Bitcoin, which is obviously bullish. Next, Bank of Russia is now allowing Bitcoin and crypto buying for limited investors. So more buying power from Russia. Then Meta Planet has bought another 2 billion yen worth of Bitcoin. So they basically doubled their Bitcoin holdings from 1,800 to now 3,000 Bitcoin basically yesterday. So that is nice that we see basically Japanese companies accumulating Bitcoin. Then Paraguay has signed an agreement with El Salvador to regulate crypto. And if they have made a deal with El Salvador, most likely it's going to be bullish for Bitcoin and maybe even other cryptos. So this is just increasing adoption in the planet. Then U.S. Congressman I don't know how to say the name, Bejic. I don't know how how to say it, but he has now introduced the strategic Bitcoin reserve legislation. So you have to take uh, the executive order for the Bitcoin strategic reserve is a separate thing than when it comes through Congress, because when it comes through Congress, then it's actually solidified. The next president that comes after Trump cannot basically overturn the Bitcoin strategic reserve. So if this gets passed through Congress, that's going to be very, very good, because it will basically just it will be like a brick stone. It's very hard to cancel it after it has been passed through Congress. So if this passes, that would be great. And they also want US government to buy $1 million of Bitcoin. It already has 6 co-sponsors. I saw another post on X saying that they actually have 7 already. So let's see if it can actually pass or not. At least there's a lot of pro-crypto sentiment in the US right now, so it could pass. I think that's what Donald Trump wants as well, because he made the executive order. He probably doesn't want it to be overturned by the next president. So most likely, or hopefully, this will actually pass. Let's see. Then this was a little bit insane. This is not exactly bullish news, but I need to cover this because this makes people want to exit the banking system. And what's the exit for banking system is obviously crypto and Bitcoin. So Ursula von der Leyen, who is the president of the EU Commission, she came out and said that we will turn private savings into much needed investment. And I actually delved into the actual website where they showed this on the EU website. And this is basically the screenshot that I took out. So what does this initiative actually do? So they plan to mobilize 10 trillion euro from citizens. And in return for mobilizing the $10 trillion of savings, citizens of EU will enjoy higher returns, supposedly. So this is the promise. So European savings will be channeled to allow more financing options for businesses, to help EU reach a tipping point. I don't know exactly what is the tipping point, but they want the EU to reach a tipping point. They want to mobilize savings, and they want to pool in large amounts of investment capital for basically EU companies for green and digital transitions, and ensure economic and social sustainability for the EU in the long term. So how I read this is, they will, if you have money in the bank account, that money will be used as collateral for a loan, which will be used to invest into EU-aligned Vogue DEI companies. And in return, hopefully these innovative DEI Vogue companies will make a profit. And as the investment goes up in value, the loan that the people's money savings are being used for pays interest, and then the citizens basically are paid back, hopefully. So how I'm basically reading is that EU is gambling on people's money, and they are centralizing the pool of capital into the hands of EU. So if you don't want your money to be gambled with woke DEI companies, then you probably want to take your money out of the banking system. That's how I'm reading this. If you have a different opinion, please let me know in the comments. But in my opinion, this is absolutely dystopian, and I would basically just take out my money off the banks if possible. Then Deutsche Bank has actually said that a US strategic Bitcoin reserve could set international standards. So even in Europe, despite this hostility towards crypto, the Deutsche Bank is basically saying that this could be a good thing. So again, adoption is going forward. And here's another point basically saying that they will take $10 trillion of citizen savings for EU defense and other companies. This is basically the same thing that I already shared. But then this is what you need to remember, that European Union is anti-Bitcoin, anti-crypto. I don't know if they still are, but just listen to the head of the European Central Bank. What does she has to say about Bitcoin? And if I remember correctly, this was said in 2023, so roughly 2 years
That needs
ago.
to be agreed at a global level, because if there is an escape, that escape will be used. So I think it needs to be if anything, it shows that global cooperation, multilateral action is absolutely needed, whether it's initiated by the G7, moved into the G20, and then enlarged, but it's something that needs to be addressed. And FATF is clearly an organization that has expanded in that respect.
So they basically want to block the exits of capital from the EU. So Bitcoin is obviously seen as an enemy of the European Union. So while you still can, you probably want to take your capital out of European Union, and this is also driving the adoption of crypto, in my opinion. Then this was important, but not necessarily for crypto, but for the ceasefire deal that is going on in United States. Personally, I don't think they will reach a ceasefire. So Putin, he actually visited the Kursk region that was just captured by the Russia back from the Ukraine hands. And this time, this is the first time since 2022 that Putin had a military outfit. And this came right after the announcement for the ceasefire that Ukraine has approved, the ceasefire that the United States government laid out for them. So after that, Putin basically came out in a green suit himself. So why I don't think the ceasefire will last is because right now, Russia, they have the initiative, and the nature of war says that while you have the initiative, while the enemy is on its back foot, you need to press harder. And it doesn't matter if it's Russia or some other country, that is usually the case. Like while you have the upper hand, you need to basically press on it. So if Russia would sign a ceasefire right now, what it means for the Ukrainians is that now that they are retreating, they can dig in deeper, dig in the trenches, fortify their defenses, get in new weapons, getting new ammunition, maybe even allow peacekeeping forces to come into the country. And all of this is basically very much what Russia doesn't want. So for these reasons, I don't think the ceasefire deal will actually pass. That's delusional in my opinion. But if it actually passes, then I do think that they already have a peace deal signed and basically done behind the closed doors. Because from Russia's perspective, the only reason why they would want to do a ceasefire right now is if they already have an outline or agreed upon peace deal while they have the upper hand in the fight. It is not a stalemate like many people say, but all in all, once the ceasefire deal is basically broken, I do expect the markets to have a shock. So that's basically what to be expected here. But the peace deal negotiation phase, it might take 6 to 8 weeks even before we get any progress on that front. So maybe it doesn't affect right now, but this is just something to keep in mind that Russia seems to be escalating rather than not like cooling things down right now. So even before the ceasefire deal, Russia had said before that they do not agree for any ceasefire that allows Ukraine to rearm itself. They will only basically stop fighting once a peace deal has been already agreed upon. So I don't know what's going on exactly, but I don't think the ceasefire deal will last. And then continuing, Cantor Fitzgerald has launched a Bitcoin-backed lending for institutions. I read into the details of this. They have launched a $2 billion Bitcoin financing initiative for financial services. So people who hold Bitcoin, it basically allows institutional investors to leverage their Bitcoin holdings with this new tool. So again, this allows more capital to flow into crypto. So from our perspective, this is obviously very, very good. And the initial capital will be filled with $2 billion. So it doesn't mean that this is the whole potential. This is simply that which has been already allocated into this new financial tool. So obviously, this is very good for Bitcoin and crypto, obviously. So overall, it's something that helps us. One thing to note here as well is that Cantor Fitzgerald has financial ties with Tether, holding 5% stake, valued at $600 million of Tether company as well. So Tether, most likely, I already said it in the previous update, but the Tether FUD is most likely not gonna ever materialize. Tether is seen as a cornerstone of crypto, as it was invited in the White House Crypto Summit as well, and these financial institutions have a stake of the company as well. Then Binance, this is crazy this week. So they actually got a $2 billion investment from MGX AI. This is a company from the United Arab Emirates, and they invested into Binance basically in the form of stable coins. It's not said here, but they invested $2 billion of stable coins into Binance. I don't know if they bailed Binance out from something that bad that has happened or not, but all in all, $2 billion basically has flowed into crypto from this deal here. This is, by the way, one of the reasons why a BNB token has held up so well against other cryptos on the market, most likely. And here's one more thing. This is the last piece of news. Financial Services GOP. This is an official U.S. House Committee on Financial Services. They have come out and said this about stablecoins. They will modernize the payment system. They are faster and cheaper than international payments. They use secure blockchain technology, globally available, less volatile than other digital assets. So the stablecoin adoption, this is basically just, again, giving a proof of, the stamp of approval for stablecoins on the global scale. So very, very good news for crypto adoption. Now, let me quickly take a look at the fundamentals one more time, and then we go back to the charts here. So when we go and take a look at the fundamentals on sentiment.net, we do see that in this downturn here, we have not seen most Bitcoin flowing into exchange wallets, which is quite nice to see that basically the panic most likely is almost over. Also, when we go down here, you can see an increase in stablecoin amounts. So right now, actually, so $203 billion is the market cap of stablecoins right now, and it is growing once again. So this is a signal that the markets have now turned bullish once again. So very, very good signals here. The only a little bit annoying thing is when I take a look at old wallets that have held Bitcoin for more than 90 days, they basically have been panic selling in this downturn here. But the 3-year and the 1-year holders are not panicking obviously as much as are the 90-day holders, but still a little bit sell pressure in this move here. Not the best thing to see, but it is what it is. Not everything here is obviously bullish. But here's something bullish for you guys. What we are currently seeing here on the chart when we take a look at the Bitcoin whales. So 10,000 to 100,000 Bitcoin holders, they have been basically accumulating on this dump here. This is very, very, very nice to see. Also, 1,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin holding wallets, they also basically started to accumulate on the second dump here as well. So that's nice to see. And who is basically selling here is this yellow one, 100 to 1,000 Bitcoin holders. They have been selling on this dump. And these are your ETF holders, which nowadays, I don't know if they are institutional investors, but also seems to be retail investors because, well, I can show you guys. So when we take a look at the history of those wallets that have 100 to 1,000 Bitcoins, they usually, they basically sell the bottom here and then they buy the top again here. And basically the same thing happened here. They were not accumulating on the bottom here in 2022, 2023, but they basically only started to accumulate here at when Bitcoin was already $80,000 and more. And now they started to sell once again. So not the best people to actually time the markets. So when they are selling and we see other whales basically accumulate, that is nice to see fundamentally, in my opinion. So now going back to the chart here quickly, in my opinion, what I do expect is, because we see a wall of sells at this range here, that we actually go down one more time to these levels here. So I think roughly $80,000 or even $78,000, that is roughly the price range that we will likely see one more time here, basically back to this line here. And from there, most likely we will be heading up, because the fundamentals have changed so much for crypto that, in my opinion, it is quite bullish in the crypto land. But overall, if you want to accumulate Bitcoin already, that is also pretty good. If you just want to FOMO into crypto, seems to be a decent time here. Now, this is simply my analysis. There could be a black swan event right behind the corner. Who knows? Certainly, I don't have a crystal ball for it. But right now, Bitcoin just looks so bullish. A strong pump from this line here, and overall, like for the structure of Bitcoin, we had this left shoulder here, this head pattern here, the right shoulder here, and now we basically had a retouch of that breakout level here. So most likely, if we go up, we will go to that 150k and maybe even more throughout this year. So right now, I'm still bullish. No reason for me to really be bearish at the moment, unless obviously we see a black swan event or something crazy happens. But as of now, all signals basically point towards more accumulation from investors, institutional investors, and crypto seems to be gaining more and more regulatory clarity, and the adoption is growing as well. So if you want to trade these markets, in my opinion, the best exchange to use is bybit.com. They are sponsoring this channel as well. So if you want to use bybit.com, leverage trading, copy trading, trading bots, demo trading, or anything basically you want to do with crypto, denome is the referral code, and you will get 10% discount for your first 30 days. And then you are also eligible for up to $30,000 in welcome rewards. Thanks for watching this video. I will see you on the next one, and bye bye.